Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request, this time for Ryan. Thank you so much for that. The second of two requests. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. And this time he wanted me to talk about 3 episodes of Futurama, which I do appreciate that. For those who want to request any type of videos, would be a video game playthrough, topic reaction, tier list, ranking, review, re-review, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well for those interested. Just I've had people ask about that. Links are down below in the info box. I'll get to it as soon as I can. But yeah, Futurama, that's a show that I remember not getting into it as much as other shows. I do remember watching it when it premiered back to the day and going, okay. Yeah, I like, The Simpsons more, but okay, and I remember watching the first couple episodes back to the day. I went, it's kind of there. And watching these 3 episodes, I would say I like more of the sci-fi aspects that they showcased, because it's in the future, and what kind of sci-fi tech or sci-fi, alien or stuff they're going to show. Or sometimes, it has some decent heart. And that's what I would call it, watching these 3 episodes. Jurassic Park, Devil's Hands are... Let me make sure. Devil's Hands are Idle, Playthings, and Anthology Adventures Part 2. That it's mildly amusing, but it got some pretty decent heart to it at times. Which I do appreciate that. Billy West as the voice of Fry, and Katie Siegel as the voice of Leela. I do like those voice actors. Katie Siegel, of course, was in Married with Children, among other stuff. So it's nice to see her on this. And let's of course, Matt Groening created this, who also created The Simpsons. I guess as throughout the years gone through a topsy-turvy way of production where it was on Fox and then it was pretty much canceled, but then they came back and did a couple movies, but then it went to Comedy Central at one point, and then it went to, no, it was Adult Swim, then it went to Comedy Central, now it's on Hulu. So it is the show that kept chugging along. I mean, you say Family Guy was like that, but it seems like even this show more so. It just kind of kept chugging along. So it must have been making at least enough revenue for other people, other companies to grab it and have it for a while. But at the end of the Jurassic Park, this one I know I've seen before, because I remember the ending. The ending I do remember. Or maybe I just remember it being referenced a lot, this ending. Where the gist is Fry, which, I mean, people know what Futurama is. If not, the setup is, it was New Year's. Fry was a pizza delivery guy who kind of was not doing much else in life. He was tricked into delivering at this trial lab. He's kind of relaxing, eating pizza, watching New Year's. Then on New Year's Day, he trips, he falls to a cryo container, gets frozen for 1,000 years or so, and come out in the future, meets this robot named Bender, who says is his best friend, but then at times always wants to screw him up and worse. Meets this Cyclops named Leela, who Fry has an attraction to, and Leela's like a warrior alien lady. But they also meet this professor, and they meet this guy who's crustacean with claws for hands, among other characters, and they go through all these. They have a delivery service on a spaceship, and they go through all these little misadventures throughout the show. So Jurassic Park, they're watching TV and they find out that an old piece of New York has been discovered, which is the pizza place that Fry used to work at. And among the fossilized stuff they find is this dog who became Fry's dog, and he named it Seymour. And so the episode goes back and forth between the past, where Fry met the dog and was friendly with the dog, and the dog was friendly around the pizza place, getting hair everywhere, swimming in the sauce vat, and all this other stuff. And how much the dog loved Fry, and vice versa. Goes from that to the future, where there may be a way to clone the dog, which is the way it was fossilized. They did DNA, get it out, and clone the dog. And then Bender doesn't like that Fry keeps paying attention to this, so he thinks he's going to lose his best friend, so he's jealous. So he throws it in this lava pit until ultimately he feels bad and gets the dog out himself. Now, yeah, there are moments that did make me chuckle, like when he did the dog out, he uses Bender himself to break the glass. He's like, let's see if anyone stopped me, and he immediately just grabbed, oh, okay. Easily just thrown out. Like, that was kind of funny. Or there's a bit where Bender wants to be a magician. So there's a point where he's sad about what Fry said, so you think he's crying, but the tears become balloons. So you think tears are flying, but they become balloons that go up and flutter away. Like, I thought that was kind of a funny sight gag. I also like the reference that the professor has where, but that dog was made of dolomite, the tough black mineral that won't cop out when evil's about. So I mean, it's always fun when they mention dolomite, which is a pretty bad but entertaining Rudy Ray Moore movie from back in the day. Was definitely a bit of inspiration for Black Dynamite. Dynamite! Dynamite! Also, just how oblivious Bender can be, where when he after he throws the dog, he's like, "Well, Fry, now I'm all you got. I screwed up your dog. Now you'll like me." It kind of works a bit with the character because it's a robot, so it's not going to understand human stuff 100%. But I mean, at least it's mildly amusing. There's some fun gags that I mentioned, but what really makes the episode memorable is the ending, where Fry finds out that his dog lived for like 12 years more or so. And so, well, wait a minute, like he was pretty, he was a couple years old, but that means he had an entire life ahead of him. And but at the same time, it doesn't really make sense because he's like, well, he had a life, and he probably doesn't remember me. But at the same time, the way his mind makes it out to be is, well, he won't remember me because it's been 12 years and he's probably moved on. But at the same time, you can still clone him. Number one, see if you're right or not. See if maybe he does recognize you as an old friend. See what happens, and if it doesn't work out, then someone else can take care of the dog and have the dog, and maybe once in a while you can go see him. Or do what you did before and have him teach him the songs, because the dog can hum a song that Fry likes. You could teach him again. So his frame of mind still didn't make sense to me. It's like you're cloning it. Like there's a kind of a win-win situation. Either the dog remembers you and you win, and the dog does remember you. At least this dog then has a life and it'd go to a different family, or you could retrain it again. You could see if it could eventually like you and know you more, and I remember you. That type of recognition. So you'd win either way. If it was like you went back in time and plucked him out, and oh man, he would miss all those 12 years he would have been doing stuff, that'd be different. But the reason they did that is to have this ending, which is a heartbreaking ending, where reminds me of that movie Hachi with Richard Gere. Robert, who the fuck is Robert Gere? Hachi was Richard Gere, where someone dies and the dog keeps coming back to the spot over and over again. Same with here. As the dog tries to warn and tell Fry's parents where he's at, but they won't listen. And then, of course, if the dog's that smart, it knows where Fry is at, so it could keep going back to the trials and try to get him out of there. But instead, he keeps in front of the pizza place day after day after day and waiting for him through the snow, people getting older, the place shutting down, and you see the dog getting older and older. And just the loyalty that the dog showcases makes it a heartbreaking ending. Now, I believe the dog did appear a few times, but I don't think it ever had a happy ending. I saw one clip that I guess in one of those movies, like Fry went back in time, but then Bender just blew up the thing and the dog became fossilized. That's why then it appeared in this episode. That's too bad. That dog never really got his happy ending, so that's a damn shame. It is what it is. So, but it definitely gives you the feels. It definitely made people remember it to this day. It's probably one of the most memorable episodes of that, or memorable moments of that entire show. Is that heartbreaking ending. So, again, to show the loyalty of this dog waiting for its master day after day without fail. So, it definitely gives you a pinpoint of memorability with that episode. So that's what I got of it, was that ending. Kind of like the Simpsons episode with the Homer's mom, where you have that bit where it's a decently funny episode, but then the mom leaves, and you have that sweet bit with Homer like on his car looking at the stars and the moon, and you have beautiful music, beautiful sweet music. That's what I liked about The Simpsons. That once in a while they would just let things play out, let the emotion play out. And I don't know if they do that in Simpsons nowadays, because I haven't seen a new Simpsons in like 10 years, to be fair. But I do remember that, sometimes those things can matter to the viewer. So, kudos to them for doing that. Devil's Hands are the idol. I want to get this title right. The Devil's Hands are idle playthings. That was the second of the 3 episodes you want me to look into. Apparently, at one point, they thought this was going to be the series finale because they weren't hooked up for another season. I think this is when Fox are like, no, you're not going to do it. Okay, well, you do like a couple movies, but... And then I think that's when they went to, Adult Swim, and then Comedy Central. But yeah, they kind of, I guess, played it out a bit like it's a series finale, because they have like quite a few little cameos from other characters in it. Pretty much the gist of it is Fry has this holophoner, where it's a musical instrument, but when you play, the music creates images, which is an interesting idea. And he wants to impress Leela because he's in love with her. But he can't really play that well, so he doesn't know what to do. So Bender has the idea of going to the robot devil. And I recognize the voice of him. That's Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson. Which Dan is a great voice actor. It's always nice to hear him in these type of roles and performances. So he makes a deal. And of course, I will say this got me, and I feel like an idiot for getting me, but I thought this was pretty clever. Where it didn't leave me alone. Okay, it's going to have benders, going to be front. Okay, the deal is I'll take your hands and then you'll have them replaced with robot hands, which will be much more accurate and will help you play this instrument to impress the girl you love. Fry makes the deal, and you're assuming it's going to be Bender's hands. And you see it getting close to it, but then it goes to the robot devil, and even the robot devil's like, oh, well, I put my name on there just to to let people not think I'm cheating. And like he's trying to complain about it, and Fry's like, oh, stop being a baby, chop my hands off. So I kind of like that little twist that, again, I didn't even see it coming. I like that they didn't play off the more typical route that was just going to be Bender's hands. I also like the idea that the robot devil keeps getting more and more sad and annoyed. And he wants his hands back. And he's like, please, come on, man, give me back my hands. These of yours keep touching me. So pretty much what happens is that he starts playing very well. He gets to be part of a concert. Leela is excited for it. The devil won't let Fry won't let the devil have any more. The robot devil have any more deals with them. So the robot devil's like, okay, I'm going to talk to Bender, try to get a deal with him. And of course, Bender does it. He's like, okay, gets this horn for his nose, but when he uses it, it makes Leela's ears deaf. So now she can't hear anymore, let alone hear the concert that he's doing for Leela in the first place. Eventually, the devil kind of tricks her, the robot devil tricks her into like, okay, I'll give you ears, but you gotta give me your hand. When she gets it, the robot devil later says, yeah, your hand in marriage. So the robot devil tricked her ass. Now, there is some musical bits in it, mostly at the end here, where they're kind of singing and explaining the situation. Which I will say the actors did a decent job doing the singing. I mean, mainly they're just singing the situation that they're in at the moment. So I didn't really notice anything too like clever or creative with the singing. You know, it wasn't like, okay, let's do a. What if we did like a song about if Planet of the Apes was an opera, like on The Simpsons or something like that. But I will give credit with the people who sing did a decent job. And it wasn't too bad, it wasn't too shabby. And of course, one thing leads to another. Fry doesn't want that to happen to Leela, so as he puts it, just take my hands, you evil metal dork. Does so. He can't play. Everyone leaves. But again, nice sweet ending where he's about ready to leave and Leela is the only one in the audience going, hey, I want to hear how it ends. And that makes Fry smile, and he does it. It's a very truly drawn version of the two of them kiss and walk off into the distance. Because again, they thought this was going to be the last episode. So, granted, as the last episode, I don't know if it really would have showcased Bender in a great way to end the show. Because other than, okay, he took Fry to where he needed to go, and then he got the fake nose horn thing. But if this was meant to be the last, it's like, man, you kind of wish Bender would have had a bit more to do. He has some to do, but nothing completely memorable. I don't know. I guess that'd be a question for big fans. If this was the series finale, how would you feel how it incorporated with all the characters and stuff? I guess the last shot did like a nice little bit of, happily ever after. Even though it's not really the two of them kissing and going off distance, the sentiment is there. But I would say like the first the two episodes, Jurassic Bark and the Playthings, Devil Hands Playthings. What I liked the most was the endings. I thought they had a nice little heart to them, which I appreciated. And there's stuff I chuckled at. Like I said, mildly amusing, so didn't hate them or anything. And then Anthology of Interest 2. It's an anthology just like the Treehouse of Horror for The Simpsons. But here the professor has a what if machine. So ask a question of what if and I could show it to you. So one's with Bender, one's with Fry, one's with Leela. The Bender one is what if I was human? So I have a short bit where he does become human by this experiment from the professor, and Bender's enjoying his human self, and he can eat and he can drink and he can enjoy taste and enjoy kissing, and kisses a woman. Wow, great. Kisses the professor. Ah, man, that's not working anymore. And the professor goes, "Speak for yourself." That was kind of funny, the professor saying that. But Bender eats and drinks and smokes cigars and no self-control. They warn him. He runs off, parties. He gets very, very fat. People at this party are saying, "Man, that's horrendous. Oh yeah, don't judge me unless you walk in my shoes." So the rest of the scientists, because it's supposed to be this Nobel Peace Party thing, Nobel Prize, I should say, Nobel Prize party, they start the party. But then by the end of the party, they go up to Bender and he's died because he got too fat. Although there is kind of a funny joke where, I heard him talk. No, that's the air escaping the flaps of his fat. And they touch him and they hear that noise again. And there's a bit where they have to roll him. You keep hearing that noise. Like, okay, that was kind of funny. I would say it was interesting to see what Bender looked like as a human. With the short, I think it was like blonde, the hair and stuff of that nature. My favorite bit though was Fry's. Like, what if the world was more like a video game? Because of the video game references. So like the jar of Nixon is talking with Ambassador Donkey Kong. But then Donkey Kong calls for reinforcements, and you have like the Space Invaders and General Pac-Man is there. Supposed to be General Patton, but it's the look of Pac-Man, and they have to escape. And by escaping, all the characters are all on the Pac-Man board. I thought that was really cool to see visually represented. Even like the Space Invaders, Fry and them get into a bit where they're going back and forth. I do like that before that he's training a bit and you hear music rush. I think the song Tom Sawyer. Dun-dum-ba-bum, dun-dum-ba-bum, dun-dum-ba-bum. So the gaming references were fun to watch. Always nice to hear a bit of Rush on the soundtrack. Even the way it ended, it ended on kind of a... I just try to be a very off-kilter note where Fry destroys all the Space Invaders except one, and then some of them come out, including, I think Q-Bert's one of them that comes out. What you want? We want 1,000,000 quarters. No deal. We need that for laundry. Well, we just want to do laundry too. How about we throw our clothes with yours? fine deal. So, I mean, things ended happily for them. It just, I don't know, in a very, like, what? No, but I know that's the purpose of it. So that, because of the video game references, I had fun with. The thing with Leela was, I thought it was kind of fun as well as a take on Wizard of Oz. Only instead of a house, they're in a spaceship that crushes the witch. And then steals her boots. But then when she meets people, go, oh man, she's a witch. That's why these boots magically got on my shoe, on my feet. And they're like, you stole those boots. Don't lie. And then you have the lollipop deal, but they had to work on the copyright so they go, we resemble but legally distinct versions of lollipop deal. My favorite line is when they get to the professor, because okay, Fry's the scarecrow, Bender is the Tin Man, and then the guy with the claws, Zoidberg, is, yeah, no, I'm the one with the courage thing, yeah. So when they get to the Wizard of Oz, which is the professor, the line he says is, who needs courage when you have a gun? Just gives the guy a gun. I don't know why, for some reason the way he said that, why you need courage when you have a gun? I didn't see it coming, and the way he said it just made me laugh. So that was probably my favorite joke in the whole episode. And it ends with Leela, something happens, and then she screws him over, gets the powers of the witch, turns some of them into frauds, but that the Zoidberg need to use the restroom. Some liquid gets onto her, and she melts. And with her, Leela was knocked out, so she dreamt all this, and she wakes up and goes, it was a great dream, but you were there, and you were there, and you were there. So that was, decent. I mean, there's plenty of Treehouse of Horror episodes of Simpsons that I liked more than this. Plus, the horror aspect was kind of a cool motif on that. But this was, I mean, I like the idea. Stuff that we can't do to the actual characters. Like, we can't make Bender human. I mean, I guess you could, because they'd always find a way for him to go back into being human, but if they don't want that annoyance, then they could just do these what-if things. And obviously, they've done it before, because this is Anthology of Interest 2, so I would assume there was a 1. I don't know if there's more after this, like Anthology of Interest 3 or 4, so. Unless there wasn't, they just want to be unique and say Anthology of Interest 2 without a number 1. So I'm not 100% sure on that. But overall, yeah, I liked these episodes for what they were. The first Jurassic Park and the other one had some nice, sweet endings. Or, not sweet, but, a little bit emotional endings. Anthology of Interest, it was kind of cool to see these different what-ifs implemented, especially the video game one. I did chuckle at certain things here and there, like I mentioned before, and yeah, seems like a fun enough show. I don't really have a whole lot to say other than that. So, yeah, not too bad, not too shabby. So with that said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening again to Ryan. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.